This is the voice of freedom. We are not one voice. We are many. We are your voice. But we can only be effective if you use your voice. Your voice. This is the voice of freedom. We will not hide from the truth. We will ask the hard questions until we are sure we have the truth. Welcome to the voice of freedom, where your voice will never be silenced.
Well, g'day, folks. How you going? Hope you've had a bloody great day. I've got to say, I've had a wonderful day today in Canberra. I've been dog sitting. I like dogs. I think everybody knows that I'm pretty good with all kinds of animals. So we've had a pretty flash day today. Seeing the sights of Canberra is probably the easiest way of putting it. Now, last night, I just want to speak briefly about last night. I would apologise to everybody who tried to watch the Rumble feed of the AMPS presentation last night on the thing. It is now available on the Rumble site, and the link is in the description for either this show or one earlier. Can't remember. But the link is there. Go and check it out on Rumble. I can highly recommend that you do go and watch last night's presentation from the Australian Medical Professional Society. There is some amazing information in there available to us all and is being given to our government. They are left in no doubt what is happening to us and what is being done to us. And that's exactly how I feel about it. We should all feel about it like that. Howling at the bloody, well, I was going to say moon, but it's probably better that we howl at the bastards that do it to us rather than the moon, isn't it? Anyway, I just wanted to touch on that and say I apologise for those folks who tried to watch it on Rumble. There was a significant snafu in that area. Not sure if it was mine or Rumble's. And Project Matilda, of course, got inundated with people who were trying to watch it, and that slowed their server down, so it made it a bit jerky to watch. Of course, it is available on Project Matilda too, and was straight after the show to watch in replay. So if you haven't seen it, then by all means, please go and check it out. And it is something that you will definitely gain some benefit from. Now, in Canberra, well, I like to be catching up with all sorts of people in Canberra, and it is wonderful, having been here a lot more this year than I have been in the last 25, to make so many new friends. One of those friends is somebody that we've all come to know and love and respect quite a lot. Anonymous. So... Can I just point out that's not the first one. That's all. That's all I'm saying. Hello, Cass. How are you?
Hello. How are you going, Carl?
The lovely Catherine Smith from Freedom Financial Solutions in Canberra. If you have super and you want to get it out of big super and you want to get it into gold and silver, this is the lady that can help you, and we'll give you some details about that further on. Welcome to your place.
Yes.
Thank you very much for having me in your home.
Yes, Carl's here staying with me, and sorry about the dog in the background, but we can't really help. He just likes to be vocal, so he might chat from time to time. He might even come up here and join us.
Yes, if we can, you'll love him. Achilles, his name is, and he is a bear, an absolute huge animal. That beautiful, beautiful, beautiful soul in him too. He loves protecting little dogs, and he and Chili are friends. You know, a bit worried about Kelly, but that's another story.
Yeah, there's been 5 dogs in this house for the last few days, so it's been.
And that's just the 4-legged ones.
Yes.
So, hey, thank you once again for having me in the house. Last night you were at the AMPS presentation. What was your takeaway from that?
Oh, it's just fantastic, and it's where we need to go. It's the start of it. I just wish you could get out there. Like, where is mainstream media?
Yeah.
Like big things are happening, and mainstream media, as we know, completely silent. But thanks for Carl, who is getting it out there, and you know, little bit by little bit, we've just got to slowly get this word out until it can't stop. And then,
did you find anything particularly shocking last night? In anything that were you sort of expecting the review to be as bad as it seems?
Yeah, because I've been following it the whole way through. I've seen all of that data. I know that data, 16% excess deaths in Australia, worldwide right now. You know,
and that's without putting in the underreporting factor.
Yeah, and nobody's questioning it. What the? So, no, I know all of that. I expected all of that. I guess when the ambulance driver, paramedic hopped up, 44 years in the ambulance service, only to be dismissed, not only just dismissed, but dropped like a bag of potatoes, never to be spoken of again. Like
44 years in the New South Wales ambulance service, and dropped like a hot rock because he wouldn't experience the fun of the jab. the weird part about it is, in the part of the world that he lives in, there is a volunteer rescue society there.
Yeah.
And he can attend car accidents, any kind of trauma. He's a trained paramedic, but he cannot attend as an ambulance officer. He can as a volunteer. And we have a similar situation arrive with the Melbourne firefighters, the professional firefighters who refuse to accept the thing. And they've obviously been pushed out. However, if you're a volunteer firefighter in Victoria, because of the ramp up they require during summer and the force of numbers they require, they invited all those people that they pushed away during the jab to come back to volunteer. And in some cases, there are firehouses that have professional career firefighters in them and volunteers. The professionally trained career firefighters who've had their job taken away from them can't attend a firehouse, can't even be on the land. But a volunteer who hasn't been jabbed and has stood staunch can. How stupid is that?
It was the same thing at the Lismore floods.
Yeah.
If you wanted to be a volunteer with the SES,
Yep.
you had to prove that you had the green tick.
Yeah.
But if you turned up with the freedom fighters and we went in the boats and the jet skis, you could just do whatever you wanted.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. And
save lives.
Until the authorities actually got there and stopped everybody who was actually doing good, got them all out of the picture, and then sat around patting themselves on the back at what a great job they'd done. It was bloody atrocious. Anyway, don't get me fired up on that.
Yes, let's get number one saying in my family. My kids, I've got quite a few kids, and number one saying is, don't get us started.
Yeah, don't get us started. And I can tell you what, she raises a pretty fair, staunch family.
Yeah.
And there's no backwards and coming forwards from your kids either. They obviously understand where the world's going.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, it's important. Is it hard to teach them? Is it a battle?
I think they've been brought up that way since the day they were born, so they don't really think any different. Obviously, they've got peer pressure, so when they're surrounded by the people of their age, they're getting all this in their ear. But no, I think the way I've raised them have kept them strong and on our side, and hopefully they'll be the future leaders.
Yeah, absolutely. And from what I've seen them from, they're very strong young individuals. So all power to you. You've done a magnificent job. Let's hope you can do better with Jace. More from him later. So, all right, we've met you a bit over the course of the show, and you've been very helpful with me. You've been instrumental in advice that I've been seeking, trying to figure the best way to do this, the safest way to do this, to make sure that it's being done the right way and for the right reasons. And I trust Cass to guide me in that way. If anybody thinks that I'm ever going to get a big head around Cass, I don't think that's going to happen. She has a fairly decent set of fingernails, and I've got a funny feeling poking the side of the head will deflate things fairly easily. So you are an inspiration to me. I've had a number of conversations with women who have said, gee, Cass has got it all together. Cass is, a star in the movement. She's leading the world. She's out there fighting. I don't know. How did she get to that? Who's she married to? Is also the other question. So I want to point out, Cass isn't married to anyone, and Cass is her own woman. That's probably the easiest way of saying that. Is that fair?
Absolutely.
Cass is her own woman. She relies on no man. Let's just leave it at that. So I want to learn a bit about you. All right. Have you always been this high, what I would call, at any rate in my world, a high achiever?
Yeah. Unfortunately, yes.
Driven.
And I regret it in a lot of ways. Like my whole life was just driven. Right from 5-6 years old, I was just study, degrees, diplomas, top of the school, number one in Catholic school.
You were the school suck.
I was the ducks of the school.
Oh, wow.
But not only that, I quit 3 months early because I said to them, stuff you, I couldn't be bothered being here. You're so boring.
Wow, okay.
Started a career, and I've always been the high achiever. 16 years in university, just ridiculous. But it's put me to where I am, and now my attention's to the freedom movement.
So, I guess over this time frame, you've had a huge range of experiences. What's a highlight for you?
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of people ask that question, and you can carry on about degrees and diplomas and awards and And I've won 50 awards across ACT, New South Wales and Australia
Yeah.
for the business and everything I've been doing. But, you know, when you really go to the heart of the matter, my greatest achievement is my kids.
Isn't that great?
Yeah. They're beautiful kids, and they're very, very evolved, very out there, very, you've met them.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, a lot of people focus on their kids as in, you know, how good were their grades and have they gone to university? And despite me going to university for 16 years, not one of my kids went through university. In fact, my boys only made it through year 12 because of their footy careers.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
But I remember going to a parent-teacher interview, and their father, who I wasn't with, he was carrying on that their grades were terrible and the teachers and blah, blah, blah. We sat down with every teacher, and the first thing they said is, a great kid. Really good kid, good leader, really good sociable, leading the other kids, looking after the other kids, polite, friendly. And I went, as a mother,
I'm happy. Yeah.
And they're beautiful kids, so they're achieving really, really well. But it's not about the achievement. It's about everybody that meets my kids says they're great kids.
They're great kids. Yeah. Are we allowed to brag a little bit and mention? Well, I don't want to highlight one above the other, but I know that there are certain people here who follow the NRL.
Well, given we're in Canberra, yes, we may as well mention that my son, Harley Smith-Shields, plays for Canberra Raiders. And, he's doing really, really well. He's making a big comeback this year. For those that know the Raiders, you know him because he's been a bit of a star and he's been injured 2 years in a row. But on that, and that's an example of how good my kids are. So for those of you that know Harley, he suffered a career-ending or season-ending injury last year when he did his ACL in the week before the season started. He rang his brother that night and said, "Hey, dude, Jesse, can you give me your hamstring?"
Wow.
And
give me your hamstring.
And the older brother, Jesse, had a bit of a laugh, and then he realised Harley was actually serious. And much to my shock, because I'm just like going, oh, boys, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
They booked themselves in hospital together, and the older brother, Jesse, who's also a fantastic football player, could have gone the whole way, except for some injuries, donated part of his hamstring to fix his brother's ACL.
Wow. What a great story.
Yeah, and that's what my kids are like. That's the caliber of the kids. They're do anything for themselves, for each other, do anything for me.
No wonder you rate that as a career highlight.
Yeah, and I guess the other career highlights have been not so much career, but I made the Australian dragon boating team.
Yes, I see. Can I show
the awards on the wall?
I don't know if you'll be able to see this up there on the wall. That big yellow and green. That's your shirt from the World Dragon Boat Championship.
Yeah. World Dragon Boat competition, Korea.
Yeah.
We came second and third in the world, so did that. Then came back and competed but broke the Guinness Book of Records for the longest distance in a dragon boat.
Oh wow! How far was that? Too bloody long.
76 kilometers over 24 hours. We were literally hallucinating.
Where did you do that?
Round and round and round. For those that know Lake Canberra, Lake
Burley Griffin.
It was something like 25 rounds of Lake Burley Griffin right through the night, 24 hours solid.
Wow.
To the point where you were just dead on your feet.
So is this like rowing where you've got somebody sitting up the end that does the steering and that's about it? How do you get that job?
Yeah. Well, they had to stand there for 24 hours solid too.
Oh, okay. So it's a standing, not a sitting position.
And they had to stay awake for 24 hours as well.
Yeah, ugly.
So they're I guess I've always been an achiever. I just, once I tackle something, I want to go the whole way.
So with every high achiever, everybody who goes out there and excels, there is obviously disappointments that happen in all our lives or challenges that we have to face. What are your biggest challenges that you've had to face?
Oh, wow, Carl. Where do we start? It hasn't been without difficulties.
No.
So
nobody's life is, though.
Yeah.
There are different degrees, I suppose. I'll leave it up to you to talk about your personal life. I know that you and I have discussed things because there are similarities with my daughter and all that kind of thing, but I'll leave that to you.
Yeah, no, I'm happy. I don't hide anything. That's one thing about me. I can't lie to save myself. I started my career after I left the tax department, which I absolutely loved. I was a fraud investigator for 11 years and in with the AFP and busting druggos for marijuana selling, and great career. But it came to an end, and I decided to leave, set up my own practice in Ulladulla, New South Wales. 2 hours
Beautiful
from
part of the
here.
world.
Beautiful office outlooking the harbour, like living the dream.
Yeah.
And then was in a relationship that broke down, domestic violence. Yeah, he threatened to kill me. Had to leave town very quickly, like within 3 days.
Oh, wow.
Packed up the house, packed up the businesses, moved back to Canberra really quickly, and basically hid out. I hid out here for a few years, trying to avoid not letting him find me.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so I had to restart the business all over again. So that was 2002. I restarted everything.
From scratch again.
From scratch again.
Wow.
And I had, at that stage, I had four young children. They were all under 7 at the time. So a single mother with 4 kids under 7.
Wow.
That was fun.
Yeah, I bet. Where's your medal? Medals.
And working full time. So I restarted the whole business again, built it all back up. By 2011 or 2009 and 8, when the GFC was hitting, started a whole franchise, spent an absolute fortune, a few $100,000 on a franchise. That went into liquidation only 4 weeks after I invested the money.
Oh, no.
And but I kept going. I'm a fighter. I kept going. I kept the business going. I rebranded. I took on more staff. I borrowed more money. And then the GFC hit. And that stage, we're doing a lot of mortgage broking, the whole credit financial crisis just destroyed the business. Then I got into a partnership with and I'll name the person, Catherine Barber, used to run Elders in Dixon and Kingston. Promised me the world, said that we'd do all these things, save the business. She ripped me off $500,000. Then it got in the hands of a liquidator, and I'll name them too, because Slavin in Canberra, absolute dogs.
Wow.
If there's one person in my life that I could actually kill and feel good about it, it would be them.
Wow.
They took it upon themselves. They took the firm into liquidation and said, we'll get the $500,000 that she stole back because she's broken the law.
Yeah.
And I said, how much is that going to cost me? And they said,
$500,000?
No, they said 30,000. I went, oh shit, that's a bit steep, but yeah, okay, because I got no other choice.
Yeah.
Signed all my companies into liquidation. They got the $500,000 back within a matter of weeks because she had done the wrong thing. She would have gone to jail.
Yeah.
She handed the money back, and then, so what does a liquidator do when they've got $500,000 of creditors' money? What do they do with it? Give it back to the creditors?
You'd think, yeah.
That's their job, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, they use the $500,000 investigating every single thing they could about me. Basically, a bit like the police do with the Canberra people.
Yeah.
MSU.
Yeah.
Make shit up.
Make shit up.
So the liquidators just made shit up. And then they would spend all the money that they got investigating it.
Wow.
$500,000 they blew in their own fees investigating me. Couldn't find a fucking thing because I hadn't done anything wrong.
Yeah.
But they spent all the money.
And left you with no cash.
The number one creditor was my mother, who had lent $350,000.
Wow.
She got not a cent back.
Wow.
They spent all the money taking me down. I ended up personally bankrupt. I lost 10 properties. I lost my place at the coast. I lost the commercial office. I lost the business. I lost all my licenses, my tax agents, my financial planning, my mortgage broking, my real estate agent, justice of peace, lost a lot.
Wow.
I still had the 4 kids. They were now 4 kids under 9. So I was a single mum, 4 kids under 9, and not a cent to my name. Wow. Lost everything.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty intense. Spent a lot of time feeling sorry for myself, I can tell you that. And I had the 4 kids, and there was nights there where like I'd go to the shops and I'd be shaking at the ATM, thinking, do I have enough money to get dinner for the kids?
Been there. We've all been
there. The local school here were great. They took all my kids and gave them all free uniform because they saw the state that the kids were in. It was really, really hard. And then, I guess I don't know whether I should go this far, but topping that off, I just felt like a failure.
Yeah.
Failure as a business person, failure as a mother, failure as everything. Got to the point of suicide and tried that.
Right.
And failed.
Well, there's positives in everything.
That made me even feel like a failure. I can't even get that fucking right.
I know. I've had people say that to me too, who've tried suicide and failed, and they've. Sometimes it's like, I want to give it another go, but I'm scared of failing again.
But the good thing that came out of that was that I woke up the next day, despite all odds. Right. I have no idea how I survived. And the first thing that happened when I woke up was my two youngest were hovering over my bed crying, going, "Mummy, you're right." And I just looked them in the eyes and went, "I don't want to die." And I've built these businesses before and I can do it again. And I've done a lot of training and everything, NLP and hypnotherapy and motivational and everything like that. And I just went, why am I so worried about everything? You know what? If you've got the right mindset, you can
do it.
Pick yourself back up and do it again. So that was 2012, and I just picked myself back up and rebuilt everything. In
10 years, you've come from worried about what's going to happen when you wave the ATM at the supermarket to, I gather, not having to worry about waving the ATM at the supermarket.
No, not at all. And the business is bigger and stronger than it ever was before. I've built up to bigger than I ever was before. And that was all just through mindset. I just went, what the hell am I worried about? The main thing that came to me was I just went, you know what? I've got 4 healthy children, healthy, beautiful children.
Yep.
And I've got my own health.
Yep.
And that is all that matters.
Yep.
And then I just built back up from there. But it taught me a lot about life in that having a whole lot of properties, having a whole lot of money, having all that doesn't mean jack shit. It doesn't make you happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't.
So what makes you happy?
My kids, helping people, sport, energy.
Yeah.
Feeling peaceful, not fighting. I can't let's not get started on the fighting and the division in the movement at the moment. It just drives me insane, because why can't we all just be peaceful and work towards a common goal? And that's what I'm about as well. Like at the moment, I built up so successful that I was going to retire this year. I had no need to work. I don't have any need to work.
Yeah.
But I'm back solely for the freedom movement. All I work for now is the freedom movement. All my clients are like-minded clients.
Yep.
We're here to help them. I've built an entire firm. We're running as a non-profit. We're giving all the money back to the freedom movement. We've got 10 staff and growing daily. So that's my passion now. Like I don't even have to work, but I get up every day and go to work.
Yep.
Because I want to help the community.
Let's talk about that for a moment. I don't know. I'm sure you hear it every day. I occasionally get emails from people who I've sent through to you who are interested in getting their super exchanged into gold or silver, or setting up a self-managed super fund. And for whatever reason, they've come back and they've said, maybe not for me, or the fees are high, or whatever. Any fee that comes out, as I understand it, if you're involved in a self-managed super fund, any fee comes out of those super funds. And how does it work if you, as we've been setting people up together, strangers together who get into a self-managed super fund, how does that work with, your claim on any dollars going forward? Or, I don't know these people, how much money are they paying in fees versus how much am I paying in fees? Does somebody who has $80,000 as a balance pay more fees than me, for instance, who's got $25,000 in fees? And how do you disperse or figure that out so that you're only paying for what you want?
Yeah, good question. I mean, we've got state-of-the-art computer systems. It's a bit like being a member in Australian Super Fund. The fees and everything are dependent on your balance, and it's all accounted for accordingly. But having said that, we haven't yet put anyone together like complete strangers, because it isn't without its challenges. You do need to trust each other. You're going to have access to each other's financial information in super, and my preference is that people find their own groups of people. So like-minded friends, 3 or 4 like-minded friends, people from your community, and come together. I am compiling a list of people that really haven't got anyone they can join with, compiling a list, and all I can really do is introduce you to each other. If you all decide you like each other, trust each other, want to work together, then we'll consider doing an SMSF. It's not as easy as just putting some random strangers together.
Right. Because that's probably the big question I get asked a lot. Can anybody do it? And it's like, well, yes, anybody can do it, but I don't know the ins and outs of it. And that's why Cass is the lady that we point to. Now, Cass, whenever I talk about Cass, people start going, and who is this Cass? So can we maybe sort out where the Catherine and the Cass comes into life? Can you explain that for me?
All I can say is I'm very confused. So there was always a distinction between Catherine, who was the person who ran the businesses and the intellectual guru and all of that.
Yep.
Cass was the party girl on weekends.
Oh, I see. Right.
So some people have accused me of multiple personalities. Yeah, they're probably right. And then what happened over the course of the freedom movement and the rallies? So when Canberra, all the rallies started in Canberra, I was there right from the beginning. And when they first asked, does anyone want to stand up on stage? I went, yeah, I will. And I stood up and I didn't even know what I was going to say.
Best way to get up there.
Because normally Catherine is really good at public speaking and all of that and talking about superannuation, all that boring stuff. But when I stood up on stage, my mother came out. And so that's more my Cass personality. And I started talking about my son who plays for the Canberra Raiders and that I couldn't protect him anymore. I had kept my children chemical free their entire life. And I've still kept my other 3 children chemical free. But Harley was forced into the vaccine.
Yeah.
And yeah, I brought a lot of people in the crowd to tears. And I don't even really remember what I said. But
it'll be on videotape somewhere.
It sort of went from there that Cass is the personality that's been turning up to the freedom rallies and standing on stage and getting out there and speaking my truth about everything that's going on. And then because that's now the business in that I'm working for the freedom movement, Catherine and Cass have just like
merged. Yeah.
So now when people say, do I call you Catherine or Cass? I go, just call me whatever you want to call me.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Catherine, Cass, Kath. Whatever rolls off your tongue is fine.
I've got to say, a lot of people are saying what an inspiration you are in the chat. I can only agree. What you have been able to achieve in 10 years to go from absolutely nothing with 4 kids, a single mum, to be able to build what you have built in 10 years is amazing and a credit to you. And the fact that your kids are just such wonderful human beings is also a credit to you because, well, as you say, you've been a single mum.
Yeah.
So
their kids have been through a lot of trauma. They've seen a lot, and but to their credit, they're all up and working every day. They're like me. They just get up and they're self-sufficient and off they go. And I think that's from me. They used to see what I went through, and I used to always say to them, "Do you want me to keep going to work and working hard, or do you want me to just give up?" You know, we can just give up and do nothing. Yeah. Yeah.
But that gets nothing done.
Yeah. And they'd always say, no, Mum, off you go. Go off to work. and then that's bred in them, that same work ethic. And
they do have a great work ethic, you know, and so many kids today don't. Or they only want to do what they want to do. I think your kids are doing what they want to do, which is great. They were able to identify that and chase it and not have to take up something that was just going to get them enough money so they can go to the pub this week, you know, on Friday night. Yeah,
my daughter said to me at one stage, because she's probably got the intellect to go to uni, but she sat down there and she said, Mum, I just don't get it. Why would I go to uni? Why would I spend all this time studying to get a job that I just wake up and go to my job and come home and make all this money and do all this just to buy a house, just to live in debt? Why would I do that? And I went, don't.
There's advice from Mum, don't.
And she's just living her life now, living a dream, just running her own little business, and she runs a business around her own lifestyle and has a great time. But so that comes from me. I had 16 years at university, and when it came to her saying, should I do that? I'm like, no.
Do what you feel.
Do what you feel, do what you love,
and
enjoy your life, because, and particularly the way we are at the moment, I mean, just enjoy your life.
Yeah. And if you do that, you'll reap the benefits. Everything will come to you. You don't have to worry about, well, it's easy enough to say you don't have to worry about finances and all that sort of thing. I suppose we always do. But you know, the old saying, and we've heard it so many times, you reap what you sow. And you've sown positivity through your family right from the get-go through huge challenges, personal and professional challenges. And obviously that's been imbued into your kids too. So, and others around you, because clearly in the chat we're seeing so many people saying how inspirational you are, and I hope there are folks there that are inspired. I can think of some people that I've met in this freedom movement who I know are probably watching tonight, who will, I hope, take great inspiration from your story, because they're living that right now, and it can change for you. You just need to follow your dream, follow the inspiration, maintain the rage. So
yeah, absolutely. In the financial world, just don't want to focus on that because that's not tonight's discussion. But if anything, it's been simplified a lot. Because I used to spend a lot of time talking to clients about building share portfolios and derivatives trading and stock portfolios. Exactly, negatively geared property portfolios and trusts, and on and on it goes. And now it's just so simple.
Yeah,
it's pay off your debt because they're going to raise interest rates until the point when they're going to crush you all.
Yep.
Pay off your debt, and then whatever you've got left, buy gold and silver. It's that simple.
That's simple. Two fundamentals.
Yep.
Pay
So
off
I've spent
the debt.
30 years learning how to be an advisor and learning everything about the financial world just to go
2 sentences.
pay off your debt and buy gold.
Very good. All right. Paying off debt, buying gold leads me into a topic that I've only recently sort of started sinking my toe into, and that is the quantum financial system. Coins backed by, well, God knows what. Bitcoin apparently backed by nothing. But coins like Stellar and Ripple are backed by precious metals. I've seen some things. I've spoken to some people, and in next week I'm going to be talking to some people from the QSI. Thank you, Achilles, who are going to come and explain this a little bit more to us. But the quantum financial system, the quantum financial reset that people are hoping for. There have been some interesting developments in the last couple of weeks. ANZ Bank is bankrupt. There are 5 operating companies under the ANZ Bank ASIC registration still operating. Everything else has been closed.
Oh, got to go get my money out of ANZ.
Are you aware of anything called the Basel III protocol or the Basel IV protocol? All right, well, we won't talk about that tonight. But folks, if you are aware of what's going on in the quantum financial system, you'll be aware that there is a Basel III protocol that was enacted toward the end of last year, and on the 1st of January, the Basel IV protocol, which is the enforcement of Basel III, is applied across banking systems across the world. If your banking system was not compliant come the 1st of January, then you don't have anything to trade in the new QFS. This is sending banking institutions into interesting ground. So ANZ seems to be the first. Now, I'm not suggesting that the ANZ is going to disappear off the face of the earth. I don't know enough about the QFS to say something like that. But it could simply be that to gain approval on a Basel IV protocol, ANZ and many other banks may have had to change all their protocols to meet Basel III requirements. And if they didn't, then they're going to get in a bit of trouble. If you do then make those qualifications and fill those protocols, you will be given a new level of trading. And apparently that level of trading will be in the quantum system using quantum coinage. There is only one bank in Australia, I believe, that has a guaranteed coin that they are going to mint. The rest of them haven't been allowed to mint a stable coin. So you're probably better to place stable coins.
Is that where I asked which bank?
That bank won't be one of the ones minting a stable coin, I wouldn't think.
Yes.
And I would be worried about one of the other ones that doesn't start with the letter N, maybe. The only one that I'm aware of that has actually got an approved coin is the NAB.
Oh.
So what does that mean? I really don't know. An approved coin. So we've only just started talking about how the QFS is going to function and trying to wrap our heads around how assets are going to be traded as coins, for the want of a better term. Every asset you own will be worth something, as it is today. But if I want to sell you my computer, we'll settle on a price. We'll wrap that price in a digital coin and transfer. That's how this is going to work?
Absolutely.
Right. So that'll work for your house. That'll work for everything else. What about here's some pocket money, or look, I'm having a garage sale. I just want to clean out all this and get some cash.
And I also wonder how are we going to give donations to the homeless?
Yeah.
They're going to need their own iPhone with.
Well, will there be homeless though? Because under the QFS plan, supposedly there will be abundance.
Yes.
We will all have that abundance. And yes, the people who are living rough and may have mental health struggles or other personal issues, in theory, will be helped by the introduction of things like med beds and all of that. So there won't be a homeless problem unless you particularly want to live on the street.
So I guess, Carl, this is where it comes to, like, there's a duality going on here at the moment, because there is the belief in the quantum financial system and that everything's going to be fantastic and everybody's going to be looked after.
But then there's reality that
is that
sets
just
in here.
we're expecting the White House to come and fix us and all of that.
Yeah.
I've given up hope in the quantum financial system.
Yeah.
But what I see that is coming is the centralized digital currency.
Yeah.
They've announced it at Davos. They're rolling it out.
So that's the CBDC?
Yeah.
Okay. Is this a good or a bad thing?
Bad thing.
Right.
And completely different from the quantum financial system.
Completely different?
Yes.
How?
In that the CBDC is controlled by the, the elites that we don't want to control us.
Okay.
The idea is to roll it out, and they're already rolling it out. They've announced it. The banks around the world are trialing it. Commonwealth Bank is already trialing it. They're trialing it, and it's all it is. And like they package it like it's a good thing. Your bank accounts will be centralized to one bank.
Quantum bank account.
Yeah, one bank in the whole world, and every transaction is monitored, fed through computers to say what you're spending your money on, etc. Where it becomes scary, and they're already trialing it. We spoke about this at dinner. They're already trialing it in the UK, where they're doing the 15-minute cities, where you can't go outside your 15-minute limit. Apparently Melbourne has sent out a letter to its citizens saying, we want you to do this survey about your travel. It's all leading up to what they call these 15-minute cities. I think like in Canberra, they have to do an hour city because they couldn't dissect Canberra. They'd have to put us in one radius. But then the idea of the centralized digital currency is every cent you own is in your centralized digital bank account where they're monitoring everything. It's called programmable. So they can say, you can't buy any more meat this week. You've had too much meat.
Yep.
You can't buy any more petrol because you've got too much petrol in your V8 car. You can't buy any more diesel because we want you to have an electric car. You'll have an allowance of $50 a week for your petrol. Then they can take it even further to the next lockdown, where they go, if you go outside your 15-minute city, your card's not going to work.
And we're going to adjust your social credit score because you went against the rules.
Yeah. So there's two realities going on. The quantum financial system, which seems all beautiful and nice and everyone's going to be okay. The CDC, where everything's not going to be so okay. And
so I'm still failing to see, with the QFS, the same tracking occurs, the same not quite central banking system occurs because the banks will be localized. Usury will be outlawed, so interest. Banks aren't going to be charging interest on anything because they won't be allowed to. There will be lending functions available, but from my understanding, that will be a function of the rebuild, where there will be a lot of money available for community projects. Is that right? So all of that's going to be tracked.
Yeah, but that's all beautiful and nice. The dark side is the centralized digital currency. But they're not planning any of that. They will screw you for your interest rate. They'll put it up and up and up until you lose your property. That's what I mean by the duality. There's some people believe in the quantum financial system, but I've yet to see any evidence. As for the centralized digital currency, there is evidence. It's coming.
Yes.
It's coming. It's breathing down our necks every single minute of every single day. We are getting closer. And the answer to that, like, there is no answer really. We can't stop it.
No.
But I think the only answer is the things that I've been doing and a lot of other people around Australia are doing, Parents with Questions, shout out to them, is building our own communities outside the system. So if they get it to the point where they go, centralized digital currency, you're all locked down, you can't spend your own money, blah, blah, blah. We just go, well, you know what, we're making our own community and going our own way.
We've spoken before about a people's bank. I think Spiros may have kicked this idea off early on. Is it possible? Is it a reality? Can people, because I've had people like say, I will give you $200,000, Carl, to start a people's bank. Obviously, that $200,000 doesn't come to me. It goes to gold. But then I'm lost from that point. How does it work? We can give you a card for your $200,000 worth of gold value. If you go off and spend all the money on your card, do we keep the gold, or have we got to sell the gold to pay the debt? I don't know how that works.
So there's quite a few people, organisations, institutions that are trying to set up this, I guess, our own banking system. And I'm following all of them, but I've yet to see any progress on any of them that gives me any hope.
Yeah.
There only was one in the, it was a worldwide one where it was basically you could buy the gold, transfer your money, the vault holds the gold, you get an FPOS card. And you can literally just spend the FPOS card at any teller around the world. You're spending your gold. So you haven't got cash, you've got gold. They've gone under. They've been banned by the euro, and they're gone.
Right. Okay.
That was the only one that showed promise, and it's gone.
Would the EU ban that because it's the EU and full of deep state bastards? Because it actually was working for the people? Is that
it was
where
working for the people, and that's why it's banned it. But other people are trying to set up their own banking systems as well. But to do so, they need a whole new communication system, a whole new internet system. They need everything that doesn't come cheap. And then every time they try and do deals with the people that are involved in the rest of the, do we call them ECs?
Yeah.
They can't get anywhere because it gets shut down, or they sell out. They sell out to the ECs, and that's the end of it.
So we've had dinner. We've had a couple of glasses of wine. We're not going to keep everybody up because it's a late show. I want to test your business acumen.
I've had wine, Carl.
I have absolutely no skills, no ability, no nothing. Somewhere out of the ether, a fairy has deposited $2 million into my bank account, and I've decided I'm going to buy a chicken farm. Is that a good investment at the moment?
Isn't there some talk at the moment that they're trying to ban chickens?
Yeah, eggs more than chickens.
Eggs.
Because the egg yolk is
meant to be good.
Very good for just about everything.
And including detoxing the vax. So,
absolutely.
I shouldn't have said that.
No. That's all right.
So no, don't buy a chicken farm.
Yeah, don't buy a chicken farm. But
not if they're going to ban eggs, because they're going to come take all the eggs.
Well, only if they can get on the chicken farm.
Buy lots of guns.
Well, you're my friend. There's only one of us that has gun safes, folks. I'm just saying.
So if you had $1 million, my advice to clients is same thing: pay off any debt that you've got.
Yep.
Don't leave it in the bank.
Yep.
Every time I look in my bank account and I see money, I just like, oh my God, got to move that money.
Yep.
Rest in gold and silver, or back to your point about chicken farm businesses that are sustainable for the new world that we're trying to create.
What about people who want to create a secret chicken farm? Black market for eggs.
You got drones, they'll find you.
That's why we get business advice from Cass, folks. You see?
So,
I'd be busted in a day.
Like, it's scary what they're trying to do. They're trying to shut down farmers markets. They're trying to shut down, the rules in particularly Victoria that if you go and hunt animals, you can't share it with your neighbours.
Yep.
I mean, what the?
Can't shoot a rabbit and share the meal with your neighbour.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, what the? They're bringing in more and more and more laws just to try and stop us sharing. And
I've got a beautiful one that's happened in Queensland for folks too. It's more helpful for the police up there, but the police commissioner in the latest Police Gazette has now made all the police in Queensland aware that it's okay for them to take gifts of up to $20,000 in value without reporting it.
Oh, wonderful.
Queensland Police leading the way in corruption.
Jesus.
So how's that? That's in the latest Police Gazette, I'm told, that it's now okay for any police officer to take a gift to the value of $20,000. Oh, officer, here's $20,000.
Is that $20,000 at a go or over the year?
I haven't got the complete breakdown of that.
Let's hope it's over the year.
Well, let's hope.
But even that's not good.
Well, let's say if you're a copper on DUI duty and you were able to set up 10 people every month who are going to pay you $1,000 a month not to lose their license.
Wow. So it's a good thing I'm moving to Queensland. I just need a lot of cash in my back pocket to pay off the police.
Seems like you're the girl for it. Hey, listen, thanks for coming on. Are we gonna launch him to the world?
I don't know. Do we want to?
Are we gonna launch you to the world, Jace? Are you gonna come over and sing us a song?
Sure.
All right. This is going to be good.
People are always also asking to see Achilles. I'll see if I can get him to move.
Yeah, he's big, like very big. So we'll put Achilles on if we can get him. We'll get Jace to get his guitar over. You might have to hop out. Are you a righty or a lefty? I might slip over. It'll be easier for you to. No, I don't. Look, typical bloody muso hasn't tuned the guitar yet. You know. Do you want to go out the back and do a couple of warm up scales, mate?
No, nothing like that.
Mate, that's a pretty decent sort of a guitar.
It is. It's a Cole Clark.
You want
It's
to
a
move
Cole
this back?
Clark.
This is Jason, everyone.
How are you guys?
Say hi to Jace.
How are you?
And we're very shortly going to be joined by Achilles. Hey, buddy. Down here. Oh, well, that's the side of Achilles. Here's his head. There you are. Look up there, buddy. That's the beautiful Achilles. My God, a mountain of hair. Just a mountain of hair.
And a mountain of dog. He's
Yeah.
huge.
Well, he's a big boy, all right.
Big sooty boy.
Yeah. Jason, as you can see, only has a small amount of hair, but apparently has skills in other ways. Tell us, the guitar, the song, how long have you been playing?
Oh, look, this is a song in particular that I wrote about men's mental health. I'm an advocate of men talking, especially, especially with the pandemic that we've gone through. Some of the men, what I seen them go through last night. Firefighters and ambulance drivers and paramedics. They've dedicated their whole life to help humanity, and all of a sudden, out on their ass. And I just can't imagine what that feels like. I can't imagine. Yeah. Well, I can, but
well, you've lived a life as well. You've seen hardship on many different scales.
My life has been very colourful in many different aspects. Yeah. But I think one of my most successful careers as being a youth worker is working with young men. Yeah. And so I worked hand in hand, with Men's Link, and there's a sort of local community services here in Canberra. Yep. And I would have to dig deep to give them all a mention, but there's some awesome ones out there working with young men and men in general. So now, I wrote this particular song about a night that I went through in 2019. It was about waking up at 3:15 in the morning and wanting to kill myself, and trying to do all these different ways to find out these different things to work out how I was going to do it. And so after that, I wrote this song, and I'm still behind all the community services that are working with men and getting men to talk.
Great.
We need to talk.
Yep, we do. We do. It's not weak to talk. There's nothing weak about sharing.
Silence is deadly.
Yeah. Ain't that the truth?
And I think, just because we're men doesn't mean we're machines.
No, exactly right.
We cry. We suffer depression. We have emotion. We can't really be as tough as we think we're supposed to be.
Not 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Exactly.
You got to let the battery recharge.
Yeah. Even extroverts need 2 days of quietness, a fortnight.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can hear. All right, mate. Let's get into the song. Anything more you want to tell us about it?
Oh, look, this is a song. It's called PTSD. I'm going to be released. Well, my band is called Flat Chat. We have a page on Facebook if you'd like to give us a follow.
Yeah.
We plan on releasing this song very soon. We've been in the recording studio. It's been a 2-year project, actually. But here's the acoustic version of what happened one night in 2019 when I woke up at 3:15. I'm starting to think have the strength to try. And if I picked up a dream, and many friends to stand by my side. Living on the brink, I can tell you it's no lie. Should I go see a shrink? Would my brother stand by my side? Whoa, yeah. Whoa, yeah. Whoa, yeah. Whoa, yeah. It's 3:15 and it's dark outside, and I woke up shaking, terrified, 'cause I forgot how to live my life. So walk with me down that road. I want to share with you my Lord, so I can learn how to survive. At 3:15 and it's dark outside, and I woke up shaking, terrified, 'cause I forgot how to live my life. So walk with me down that road. I want to share with you my Lord, so I can learn how to survive. So yeah. Starting to think I found the strength to try.
Well done, man.
Guys.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you for sharing.
No
That's a really deep song too.
It is pretty deep, yeah.
Yeah.
Take your load.
Yeah.
You know, help me share my load. I'm
Yeah.
walking down the road, and you know, that night I disappeared. I had there was a missing person put out on me on Facebook.
Yeah, right.
I've worked with thousands of kids.
Probably put a few of those messages out yourself in time.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you know, I've actually, you know, been a big part of the men's groups, making them, you know that it's okay to talk.
Yeah, great.
But when you don't look after yourself and you're in those jobs, you've got to keep, you know, your maintenance up. You've got to keep talking to a psychologist and doing that clinical supervision. So, you know, that's another big thing that I'm an advocate for, and that is people in the industry getting regular supervision, and, you know, not only talking about how hard things are or how things frustrate you, or you know, going up against institutions, how are you going to change an institution, but actually talking about the good things and the successes, because that's why you do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Now, I've been a youth worker since 2003. I've had to have a break since that night in 2019.
Yep.
And, you know, I'm feeling fairly empowered now to go back to it after doing lots of work on myself.
It's great.
And you never, ever, when you've been in the industry this long, you never get away from it, you know?
Yeah.
My professional youth Facebook youth worker profile, you know, I'm contacted on a weekly basis, you know, either by people that are inspired by me and you know, want to know what they have to do to come into the industry, or by parents who have concerns about their kids, and they're still, you know, still reaching out to me going, hey, you know, who can we see about this? What can we do? You know, also people from the industry contact me and, you know, ask where I would refer, what would I do? So it's always in your heart and you never get away from it.
Yeah, true. Exactly right.
Once you got that caring thing in, you know, in your heart, that's it.
Exactly right.
That's it for the rest of your life.
All power to you, brother. Jace, thanks.
Thanks
really
a lot,
appreciate
Carl.
it.
It's been an honour.
We'll have you back on again, mate. Songs like that, colour of that.
I've got a few.
It's all right. You're going off recording them with somebody else. That's all right. I'm not going to get shitty or anything like that. I won't. I'll just take the camera away. That's fine. Cheers, mate. Appreciate it. All right, folks, have yourself a great night. We've had a ball here in Canberra for the last couple of days and still got a couple more to come. Bit of work to do tomorrow. Get some interesting meetings with some folks here on the hill tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to seeing what comes out of that. And we'll be heading home, of course, over the next few days too. If you are, you know, got the coffee on and you're anywhere between Canberra and Brisbane, give us a yell out. You never know, you might see us turn up. That'll be provided we don't run into any of those dickheads that we find out there on the road regularly, you know. Have a good night.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's rock!